Shana Tova, everyone. I have to get something off my chest, and maybe you felt the same way, but I am so upset with Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. You know, these millionaires have decided that'd be a good use of their excess monies to take a joyride out of the atmosphere. Talk about having your head in the clouds. Bezos and Branson collectively spent close to $6 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars on their excursions into space. And they did it separately, which doubled their costs instead of consolidating them. Do you know what you can do with $6 billion? Do you know that you could have fed close to 40 million people who are hungry for an entire year? And not hungry like, when will the rabbi stop talking because I'm getting really hungry? I mean, people who are suffering from starvation hungry. 40 million of them for an entire year could have been filled. They could have funded COVAX, which gives 2 billion people vaccines, not just for COVID, but for all types of other things that we take for granted. Mumps, rubella, smallpox, polio. 2 billion people around the world could have been inoculated. They could have planted 5 billion trees, or they could have made an investment to make a serious difference in climate change. But instead, these two people chose to pursue their own fantasies and spend money on endeavors that satisfy themselves and not others. We're about to blast the shofar for the first time of this Rosh Hashanah. And the sound of the shofar is clear and it's equivalent. And it reminds us to rid ourselves of selfish endeavors and to hear the cries of those who need to help and to realize where our energies and where our resources can be focused so that we can make a difference in the world. Think about ways that we can rid our selfishness, be generous, and make a difference this Rosh Hashanah, as I invite all of you to please rise for the blessings of blasting the shofar, found on page 242. Zev? Will you start? Sure, that's it. לא ראיתי אותו. תעשה ברכות. Right there, you're back to the aura.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לשמוע קול שופר.
אמן.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Tekiah. Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shivarim Teruah. Tekiah. You may be seated. I, and frankly all of you, should be indebted to Jeff Bezos and to Richard Branson. Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson are pioneers that have paved the way for space travel and exploration for all of us. Blue Origin seeks to make space travel less expensive through using reusable launch vehicles. And did you know that by Bezos and Branson going to space, that the knowledge that they will gain will allow space tourism to gradually grow and will democratize it? The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, known as NASA, reports that the development of commercial launches is already lowered the cost of reaching low Earth orbit by a factor of 20 because of Bezos and Branson. And the fact that it's easier to get into space means that it's more attainable and profitable for more people. In just a handful of years, it'll be more accessible for all of us. Think about how much a flat screen TV cost 15 years ago and how much they cost today. So too will the cost of going to space. And progress is already being made at an exponential pace. And if you take Sierra Space's large, integrated, flexible environmental habitat, which is designed to facilitate in-space manufacturing, which will help with healthcare, pharmaceuticals, medical research, agriculture, and tourism, you will start to see some of the benefits of what space travel is already providing to our world. It could serve as another staging area, like the International Space Station, for allowing us not only to go to the moon, but to go deeper in space with more research and more opportunity. The benefits of exploring space open up worlds for us in commerce. They open up an idea and a way for cheaper manufactured goods for us. It provides a faster internet, which we all love. It can allow us to connect to more remote parts of the world. It can help with some aspects of agriculture. All of this will happen in time because of the trailblazing that Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson afforded our world. And for those who say, can you believe how much money they spent? Did you know that when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, it cost the equivalent of what is today by NASA and our tax-paying dollars, not their personal funds, $152 billion to send Armstrong and Aldrin to the moon. Sounds like $6 billion is just a drop in the bucket compared to that. And think about some of the results that have come because of that pioneering move that happened on July 20th. Let's face it, Bezos and Branson should be applauded. They should be celebrated. They are people who pioneered space travel, and I believe in the not too distant future, we're gonna look back and we're gonna see their contributions, and we will say it was they who were the first that enabled it for all of us. The sound of the shofar is a sound for us not to look backwards at what could have been done, but for us to look forwards and to applaud and say, look what has been done. To bravely and proudly celebrate those people who spent from their own resources to ensure for our collective future. That is what the sound of the shofar reminds us. May that sound call all of us to a sense of belonging and to a sense of our shared purpose and future in ways that we all can make a difference. Please rise for the second blast of the shofar. Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shivarim, Tekiah. You may be seated. Before about 7 minutes ago, most of us in this room had a quick and not fully baked opinion of Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson going into space. The truth is, while I had thought about it, I didn't spend much time thinking in detail about it. I hadn't done a deep dive. But most of the people that I have listened to opine and pontificate about it, whether it be in person or whether it be on social media, they probably spent even less time than you and I have just spent thinking about it. But still they held forth on the water cooler of life, spewing their sense of belief and their dogma for everyone to listen to. Now, all of us fall into traps of holding passionate views on some topics. God knows I have done that when it comes to Jewish topics, social issues. I dabbled in politics a few times. But for each of these times that I have held these views so zealously and with fervor, all that I did was create less space for other opinions, for other thoughts, for other ways of thinking and ideas. The truth is, I don't know if Branson and Bezos did something great or if they did something selfish. I'm not sure if this is going to better their lives or better our world. I don't know. But what I do know is that the more my dogma dictates my belief and my passions and drowns out the voice of others, then I have done a disservice to the value of thought. The whole point of the shofar, offering sounds that are whole and then broken, is to remind us that we can hear different notes and we can hear them with clarity. We can understand within those different notes different meanings. Of course, we can still disagree. But the shvarim abuts the trua, which abuts the tikiyah. They live together in harmony, these sounds. And so too can it be us when we have these disagreements. We're about to take a journey on these high holidays through our Musaf prayer, and a journey that will lead us through 5,782. And if we're going to take that journey with any sense of health, righteousness, dignity, and grace, it's best to leave our dogma right here and don't go anywhere else with it. To keep a sense of an open mind, to keep a sense of appreciation, to hear different voices and the ability to learn from those opinions, to disagree with a sense of kindness and goodness, because ultimately, that is what makes our Torah and the 70 different faces it holds come to life that we breathe. I invite you all to rise for the third blast of the shofar. Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah Gedolah. Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach Tatal. That was so good. We're going to call you back in a few more minutes to do some more for us. Thank you very much.